Welcome everyone. My name is Suzanne Pachetti Johnson. I'm the program manager for Avenues to Wellness. We are a program of the Frank R. Howard Foundation, and this is our speaker series. Today, I am very pleased to introduce our speaker, Billy Hetherington. Billy is a middle school and high school teacher at Willits Charter School, where he teaches theater arts, radio broadcast, and film. He is a graduate of Dell'Arte International School of Physical Theater, and he brings 30 years of experience in theater arts, covering all aspects both behind the camera and in front of the camera. Today he will be introducing his CTE pathway in arts, media, and entertainment. Thank you very much for being here, Billy.
So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit today about what CTE is and what we are offering through this program at the Willits Charter School. I'm really excited about this. I've been working for the last 2 years to get credentialed in a CTE, and you're probably asking yourself now, what is CTE? What does CTE mean? So CTE actually stands for Career Technical Education. And you've probably seen it in the guise of like ag or metal shop or wood shop. PE is even a CTE certification. But it is a way for people who have life experience in these careers to educate and work within the school system. And as a matter of fact, it's my understanding that by 2025, all teachers that work within the school system have to have some sort of teaching credential or CTE credential. And so, yeah, I'm really excited about the potential of building this program within the charter school. I actually printed out a little blurb as far as what career technical education is. And what it does is it provides students of all ages with the academic and technical skills, knowledge, and training necessary to succeed in future careers and to become lifelong learners. In total, about 12.5 million high school and college students are enrolled in CTE across the nation. And CTE prepares these learners for the world of work by introducing them to workplace competencies and makes academic content accessible to students by providing it hands-on context. In fact, the high school graduation rate for CTE concentrators is about 90% and 15% points higher than the national average. Foundational to CTE are rigorous program standards. This section, so that's basically what we've been learning through the CTE program, and that's through Sonoma County Office of Education is where I've been doing it over the last 2 years. And I'm in my last actual semester. I'm finishing up with my CTE certification this semester, and it's really just turning in a few of the last assignments and showing the competency in the career technical education. And what's really cool about it, I've been teaching at the charter school now this is my 12th year. I didn't have a teaching credential, and through the charter school, being an electives teacher wasn't required in the beginning. That pathway has been really fun too. I've learned a lot in the last 12 years, starting off as just substituting, then taking over the theater program from Brian Arnold when he moved on to go get his master's degree at SFSU. It was really just a basic, very starter program, and over the course of the last 10 years, really built it into what the program it is now. And now with the CTE, I've got an opportunity to expand it even further and spend a lot more time talking about some of the other mechanisms of theater and performance and arts and media beyond just the performance aspect of it. So now my students are getting an opportunity to learn the tech side of things, arts, lights, sound, set building, programming, designing. Also, I've been working with our local community radio, KLLG, 97.9 LPFM, KLLG, through the Grange, and over the last couple of years, and we've been building radio programs, which you can hear every Friday from 11 to noon with replays Sundays 1 to 2. And that's been a really fun experience, and that was one that we've kind of been building and expanding upon for the last couple of years as well. but giving a voice to these students and these youth to be able to speak to their community about certain topics or issues, or even just sharing their music and their love for these different elements into the local community has been a really beneficial thing. Another thing that we've just started to expand into is the film, and learning what it takes to be able to operate a camera, to set the lighting and the sound qualities, and really take the time to explore all the different aspects that go into it. I like to equate performance and film and any of these arts, media, and entertainment, the theater aspect, the radio broadcast, and the film to an iceberg. And the performance that you see, what you see, the finished product, it's just the tip of the iceberg. That there is a whole world of people and professions that are operating underneath the surface of it that you might not ever know, might not get the acknowledgement. And so really laying out all the different aspects that go into theater or film or radio production that offers opportunities for these kids to get involved. One thing I've noticed over the years working in theater arts and performance is that not everybody wants to perform. Not everybody has that ability to get up on stage and really bare their soul and make themselves vulnerable, to open themselves up to becoming this character and put themselves in these situations that this character needs and the demands of that production. But they want to be involved. They've clicked on, the light goes on, that this is a part of something that they want to be entrenched in. And so the CTE is really offering me the ability to focus a little bit more on some of those aspects between the myriad of jobs. I mean, there's probably 100 jobs within the theater aspect that people don't even know about. As I'm just starting the CTE program at the Willits Charter School, I've given myself a 5-year plan, and this being the first year, and being very transparent with the students about, hey, we're going to come out, we're going to make some mistakes, we're going to grow, we're going to learn, we're going to refine, we're going to cut things out, we're going to bring things in, and you guys are all being a part of this pioneer moment of bringing this into this world. Another really cool thing that I'm very excited about with the Willits Charter School is that we finally have a stage. After years and years of having to build our performance space, either in the big room or outside, we finally have an actual functioning stage, or soon to be functioning stage. We're still working on the tech side of things and getting all that put into place, which has been a really wonderful opportunity for the kids to see this space be built, to watch as this tech comes in, as the lights are being hung and things are being built to hang these lights, and how the cords are being run throughout and taken back to the tech booth, how the sound is being designed and optimized for that space. And it's just all been a really wonderful opportunity for these students to kind of be in on the ground level of this building and this performance space being built. And what potentially could have been a very hectic and stressful, like, oh, we're not ready yet, we don't have things in place, has quickly turned into this wonderful opportunity for these kids to be able to see this being built and being put into place, and then getting to play with the tools and toys that exist within that those scenarios. And so that's been a really fun portion of this year of watching where we started to where we're at now to where we're going with it, and having the kids being able to see the growth of this program and take part in it, and be the first to operate the soundboard or the light board, or be the first to walk across the stage or open the curtain or perform or direct. And so I'm really excited about all these opportunities that are coming down the line. Another thing that's a part of the CTE is offering these kids. So let me back up a little bit and talk a little bit more about the specifics of a CTE program. CTE is designed to offer a pathway for kids to move right into the professional world. And so not to disregard college, but to have a working knowledge within the area of expertise that they're looking to get. So for me, what I'm trying to design and encapsulate with this is to basically kind of lay out all of the toys and all the mechanisms within those three aspects of theater arts and radio broadcast and film, and see where the kids gravitate towards, and then be able to give them the resources they need to be able to operate those different functions. And then beyond that is to find places and people where they can then continue to grow beyond what I can teach. I'm by no means the master of all three of those things, but to have a working knowledge and the ability to turn on the light for them and show them how to be able to use this, and then get them into the position where they can apprenticeship with different aspects within those three. And that's where, years of being within this field and meeting people is really coming to fruition of like, now I have the ability to channel these kids and their interests to different people within the community, either within Willits or abroad, where they can further learn more about how to operate and how to function and how to be successful in these things. And that's really exciting, because not every kid is, bought into the standard curriculum. Not every kid's going to become a math whiz or an English major or historian. And some of these kids, they need these, they come alive and they really be able to experience their true nature in these extracurriculars and these electives. But where to go with that? And this is really exciting, because now they can not just have this experience of being in a high school production or learning how to run a camera and shoot little things around the campus, or created a radio show for the school that's going to be played at a local radio station. But now they can take these set skills and go on to step into these professional settings with a working knowledge, and have what I like to say is a comfortability of being able to step into these places. Because as most of us know, in the beginning, everything's awkward. First steps are always weird and you don't know what to do. And now we're working out those first steps in an environment where they're supported and they can fail and learn from their mistakes. We've got a saying in my classroom, it's the 4 F's. Feel free to fail fearlessly. And what that means is that these kids will have an opportunity to try things out. I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going to try it all the same, knowing that I might fail, but I'm going to be supported and I'm going to get some really good feedback, and I'm going to have another opportunity to go back to that and perfect it if that's something that I feel like I need to perfect. And creating that atmosphere, I think, has been essential to giving these kids the opportunity to really find growth within themselves. And that's really what the heart of it is giving them the confidence to not only operate these things, but make those mistakes and grow from them. So part of the CTE is to do externships, and as a CTE facilitator. And I had a really wonderful opportunity to go down to LA and work at the Warner Brothers studios over the summer for a week, doing this externship and meeting some of the big CEOs of Warner Brothers. And there was talks by CEOs and people in the organization of like Snapchat and digital media and all these like myriad of different aspects of the arts, media, and entertainment world. One of the best things was just getting to talk to some of these guys and ask them, like, what are you looking for in this next generation? What are the most important things that you think that these students should have? What should I tell my students when I go back and I start teaching these aspects? And it was incredible to hear that more often than not, they were saying just curiosity. Just that the light turned on, they want to learn, and that they're going to show up. I think most of them agreed that the minute-by-minute skills and details that they would rather those potential students and potential employees learn that from them, having a working knowledge and this baseline of a working knowledge, but that the particular set, the particular structure of that would be best to be taught by the place that they are going to seek employment from or internship with. And it was really cool because we're down in LA, the world of film and glitz and glamour. And as we're doing these externships, we were doing it at one of the college campuses in Burbank, and we'd come out and they were actually filming stuff for like Netflix. And so it was a wonderful opportunity to kind of run around and talk to the heads, the different, the cinematographers, the sound designers, or the lighting people. And what I found was they were all really quick to like share their knowledge and just asking them like, what is it? What should I be telling these kids? And what I would have expected to be just a quick like, oh, well, just tell them this, turned into, well, take a seat and let me tell you all about it. And that was really fun to sit down and talk with these guys about what their expectations are and help me to kind of come up with a plan and a design of, okay, so I just got to turn the lights on for these kids and show them all the different aspects and channel that energy in a way that they become their own learners, where they're just, wow, okay, I've got this aspect, what more can I learn about that? And wow, that leads to this, and I see how these things are connected. And that's the really cool thing about CTE, and I think it really captures those kids that, like I said, might not be headed towards college to become business majors or some of the general curriculum, that this is a place where they can get their hands into it. And for me personally, I know I'm a kinesthetic learner. I need to put my hands in it. I need to be there in place. And once I do that, I will always have that. And recognizing that in a lot of the students and giving them opportunities to get their hands in it and play with it. And what does this button do? And how does this work? And building off of that, okay, now you know how all of these tools, what these tools are, what their purpose is, and how they work. What are you going to build with it? And just like a shop class or an automotive class, where once you learn the tools, then you can really start to apply it. So we're just starting. We're 6 weeks into the new school year, and so far we've got some really fun things that we're plotting and planning, and then some crossover too between the film and the radio, and how we can utilize that, and theater, and how we can utilize all three of these mechanisms. And one of the things I'm really excited about in the growth of this program and my 5-year plan is giving these kids the responsibility. I know for me personally, it was somebody taking a shot with me and giving me responsibility that really made me realize that, wow, I'm trusted, and allowed me to step up to that role of professionality. And so with my program, the 5-year plan is that in 5 years we're going to have, when we do a theater production, it's going to be 100% run by the students. From directing the piece, to lighting the piece, to doing the sound design, to building the sets, to acting, of course, and producing, and doing the front of the house and the backstage, and then have the film class filming these pieces or creating visual images that are going to be projected in the backdrop, and having the radio production create the soundscape for this, and doing radio plays and those sort of things. So finding ways to have all these things kind of circle around each other and help each other out and support each other. But that's one of the things I'm really excited about with this. But another thing that from the externship that I did, there was only one other guy that was from our neck of the woods, and he works in Lakeport, Tim Barnes. We, of course, gravitated towards each other, and oh, you're Northern California, I'm Northern California, and oh, and he'd actually seen some of the work that I've done on stage, and I'd heard his name before, and we had some friends in common. And so we started talking about, what are we going to do when we get back, and how are we going to use all these lessons, and what are we going to do with our CTE programs, and how can we work together to really kind of create something. And we came up with an idea that I'm really excited about, and this is the Theater Olympics, which we're probably going to change the name, because Theater Olympics is actually already a trademark. I don't know if it's trademarked, but it's a nonprofit organization that they actually do every 4 years. This group comes out and they meet in different places around the world and share all things theater. But we really wanted to find a way to showcase and create a lot of excitement around not just the performers themselves, but some of the other jobs that might not ever get mentioned or you might not ever know exist. The backstage, the front of the house, the people, punching tickets and folding programs, the stagehands that are helping people, helping move sets and set up props, the prop makers, the costume designers, and those sort of things. So one of the cool things being at the charter school, we have this Friday Academy, which is all electives all day, and it's really, it's kind of like the heart of CTE. It's all these people from the community that are sharing their, what their passions are, what their professions are, and turning these kids on to the different aspects and different ideas of things. And so I've got a Friday Academy class that's designed and centers around this Theater Olympics. And we've been having a blast coming up with these different games that really speak to the these kind of fringe jobs within theater. And for example, we came up with the quick change competition. And that is where somebody comes out in one costume as one character, and then they go backstage and as quickly as possible, they're changing out of one costume and being helped into another costume and then coming out as a different character. What's really happened is backstage, it's you've got stagehands that are learning how to lay things out so that it's efficient for this character to step backstage and basically be stepping right into their next costume as they're being helped out of another costume, and then to do it as efficiently as possible, and in turn work together and really think, plot and plan and figure out the best routes. On top of that, we've got another student that's really excited about structuring the point system and how these games are structured, and because we are the ones that are going to be building these games to compete against other schools. And right now we've got Tim Barnes at Lakeport Unified School District. I think he's at the high school. We've got Tim Fisher at the Willits High School. We're going to be talking to, I think, 4 or 5 other schools to create this competition that we'll be pulling out in May for the first time. Our first annual Theater Olympics, or Olympics is what we're calling it. So we're really looking forward to that and building just this fun competition, friendly competition. We're going to have a trophy of some sorts that will, live at the champion school until the next competition. They'll be able to put their names on it and things like that. So really just creating this excitement around all the different aspects but leaving room for the growth of well, we didn't even think about this aspect of that. How can we turn that into a competition or a game that will be, fun and exciting for these kids to kind of jump into? And I always think of Karate Kid and Mr. Miyagi and how he taught Ralph Macchio how to do karate was to, wash the car and paint the fence and then, Machio's out there going, man, you haven't taught me anything. I don't even know. I'm washing your car and I'm painting your fence and I'm painting your house. And then Mr. Miyagi throws a punch and he waxes on and waxes off and paints and, and basically without knowing that they're learning these essential skills, they're having fun doing it. And then it becomes applied to something where they're actually doing it and they find out that they know a lot more than they might have thought they knew. So I'm really excited about those aspects of things. Any questions so far? I kind of hit a standing point with this.
I just love the whole idea of the iceberg.
Right.
And the fringe jobs and all the jobs we don't even think about.
Right, yeah.
And how many kids you can capture, kids that might fall through the cracks, that could get turned on and find their passion. Yeah.
And for me personally, what I love about theater is it's community, and it's like, it doesn't matter that you don't want to be a performer. There's a job for you. And this was, I remember a really clearly defined moment when I was working with the Willits Community Theater, and somebody that was working there at the time who'd been a part of Willits Community Theater like forever, and they told me they didn't really necessarily, I think I asked them, are you going to come see the show? And they said, oh, I don't like to watch theater. And I went, wait, what? But you are like Willits Community Theater, and you're part of it. Just assuming that if you're a part of this function that you love theater. And they said, no. I love what theater offers and creates for the community. I respect that, but I just like to be the business end of things. And it woke me up to the idea that not everybody's a performer, but you need all those working parts in order for it to happen. A performer is only, the performance is only as good as all the working parts. And one of the things I'm really big on is ensemble and collaboration and getting people to work together. So we spend a lot of time just doing trust exercises in the beginning, ensemble exercises, just so these kids can really learn what the strengths are of each other and how they can lean on each other and how they can rely on each other. And that in turn then does go to that, all the jobs that exist that you just don't know until you're in that world, or you've had the opportunity to kind of, peek behind the curtain to see all the things that happen. I mean, even down to like the stage moms who are holding space and keeping the kids on point backstage for the summer theater programs. To the person that's making the goodies for concessions, like I said, the front of the house, the people that are volunteering their time to fold programs and put inserts in, the graphic people that are creating the graphics and the posters and all of that, to give homage to all those different jobs, those fringe jobs that exist within the theater. And really, I mean, a lot of those jobs are more easily accessible and are going to get you into a paid position and a professional position than the actual performance itself. I mean, in case you don't know, performance it's a hard road. You're out there against a lot of different performers, and a lot of performers, never get to that level that they might dream of. I know from my own personal experience, I spent some time down in LA doing the whole trying to act and had some good success. But what I realized is you get called up for these auditions, you'd show up at a casting call, and you're sitting in a room with 100 other people that look just like you. And how do you stand out? And that's the sort of competition that you're up against. And you got to have a really strong resolve. You got to be okay with being denied, and have a good mechanism within you that keeps you going, and not everybody's designed for that, and that's totally fine. But there are all these other jobs that are just as important that are way more accessible and do incorporate, the artistic side of things, but then also do incorporate, dare I say, math or history or English. If you're a script writer, you got to have, an idea of English. So what I like about theater and performance and that aspect is it is really kind of a dumping ground for all these different things, and a place to kind of take and show it to the world. For me, what's most important is just providing a space and as a laboratory of like, hey, I don't know, let's try things. Let's mix some things up and see what happens. And remembering to keep space for that, because in that, kids are learning like, well, I can try things and I'm okay if I do mess up, that it's not the end of the world, that I can just learn from that and move on. And hopefully that kind of radiates out to their everyday life. Just another aspect of theater that I love, and this just came up the other day, we're doing monologues, and I purposely assigned monologues as one of our first assignments because it is the toughest thing that you're going to do as a performer, and especially for middle school, high school, to present in front of your peers alone on stage is such a vulnerable place. And I'm very upfront with that and explaining that, this is the hardest assignment. I do it first because I want you to get through this and know that and I want you to see at the end of this, you're going to get some great support, you're going to get some really good feedback, and you're going to survive and grow from this experience. But, some people are like, that's not sure, put me up in front of the stage. I don't care. I'm fearless in that. It's a very small part of the population. But for most part, what I found is that kids have a really hard time and taking those steps and doing it. And a lot of times, in this instance, we had a girl get up and she was just really, her nerves, her emotions were getting the best of her. She was having a really hard time coming out, and then she'd get up and she'd speak really quietly, and just, it was just, there was no character. And then she broke down and she started crying, and she excused herself from the class. And luckily I had an opportunity to kind of go out and talk to her. And I said, look, this is a dramatic piece, and this piece was centered around, kids being bullied, and from the perspective of somebody who was bullied. And I said, look, you are in a highly emotional state right now. like, you can use this. This is prime. Like, people pay a lot of money and spend a lot of time learning how to get to the stage so that they can bring this to the stage. It's right there. What a wonderful opportunity. Will you please get back up on stage and do it again and use this? Amazingly enough, she did. And she did an amazing job with it. And it was such a joy to see. And what a wonderful lesson for everybody else in the room to then go, oh, this is the place. And she even spoke to it. I've never had a kid more concisely pinpoint this ideology of, she said, so I told her the whole emotional, you're in this wonderful emotional state to use it. And she goes, well, you're telling me to do something that everybody else tells me is wrong. And I said, yeah, because this is where it belongs. And this is something I bring up in all my classes. Raise your hand if you've ever been told you're too dramatic or too emotional. And everybody raises their hands. I said, that's because you're out of context. This is that place to explore these emotions. And we expect it, and we love you for it when you bring it and it's within context of the character. And we look up to you for bringing that. And so it was just a wonderful lesson for everybody to gain from, of like, wow, it's okay to be emotional, and it's okay to be vulnerable, and it's okay to be scared. The bigger part of that lesson is just how to have all these emotions, have all these feelings, how to just to learn to like take that first step to get out on the stage. And I'm not really judging them on their quality of performance. This is the first time for a lot of these kids to even step out onto a stage type environment and present. I'm more interested in them dealing with their feelings, figuring out their methods, and failing and making mistakes. And because we always give a time after for them to really think about how, what they'll do next time, what they did this time, and then hear some wonderful feedback. And this has been one of my favorite things, is the feedback that they get from their peers. And it's never been an issue where a kid's been like, dude, you suck, don't ever do this again. It's always this wonderful, supportive, look, I saw you were struggling with that. Next time, maybe try this. And it's always, and just with that, there's this wonderful buy-in that comes, and the ensemble begins to really create, and the support system is there. And when you give these kids an opportunity to see that they're supported, that it's okay to make these mistakes, it's okay to stumble, and it's okay to figure out what it takes to pick yourself back up, to continue on and be inspired by those people around you, and moreover communicate with one another and sit with their feelings and learn what it's like to be angry, so that they can recognize it outside of a stage setting, and how to control those feelings and anger and fear and overwhelming emotion, and to also take note of when they're in these emotional states so that they can apply it to a character if they need. It's like life all of a sudden isn't just happening, it's becoming something that you can use and apply later on, and it has some value. And also just to kind of give you I like to plant the idea of the passenger, that's no matter what emotional state you're in, you've got this little passenger that's sitting there taking notes, like, oh, this is what your body does when you're really angry because your mom told you couldn't do that, or this is what it feels like to be teased in front of the entire school, and mark that and use it for later. And so that's been really fun to apply that and give these kids the opportunity to develop those skills for themselves. And, I think more than ever in this day and age, with coming out of the COVID times and kids having to, be at home during the whole pandemic and not have that socialization and missing out on a lot of that. It's these electives programs, these CTE programs, which I feel really have the ability to draw these kids back in and keep them in this place. Because, I wasn't one of those guys that was like, yay, math. And it wasn't until I was, probably, I think 30 or so, in my 30s, that I realized that I gained a love for math and realized its importance, that I started to really see the relevance of history. It was these electives classes that really kept me in school, that kept me going. and to take these elective classes and say, hey, it's not just, this class that you like that's not math or not science or not English or history and these core curriculums, and say, this you can actually do something with. You can now take this electives class and turn it into your life. And it's a great opportunity for me to be able to present that. And also, it came at a time too where, after about 10 years of teaching, you start to kind of get in your rituals and your okay, this is how we're doing it and this works. And everything for me has just been thrown up in the air, and now I get to find new ways of presenting this stuff and delve even deeper into this so that I can find ways to turn the lights on for these kids and see what they gravitate towards, and just kind of gauge where they're at. And also for me too, I'm having to learn a bunch as well to stay out in front of their knowledge base. And I love it. I get kids that sometimes they know more than me, and I tell them, like, I'm willing to learn. What do you got to teach? And it's been really fun when that opportunity pops up. Or they start off not knowing anything, the light gets turned on, and then they're spending time outside of class, outside of the homework I've assigned, to really further develop these skills. And they're bringing it back. Hey, Mr. Billy, this is what I found on this. And I love that when these kids come to me with things that they've discovered on their own in relation to what we're teaching. And so it's really exciting times. And like I said, 5 years, my big 5-year plan is that we're going to have an expansion of the theater program that we've already built at the charter school, that they'll be not only functioning their own theater, but also inviting other theater companies or other community performance groups to then perform, and they will be running all aspects of that. To have a film production company where they're creating like maybe local commercials, or kids nowadays are so into content creation for YouTube or TikTok, to really up their quality or give them the ability when they say, oh, I want to be a content creator, a Twitch user, or somebody, to what tools they need in order to do that, and how to do that effectively and to the best of their ability. And then to have a recording studio where they're not just doing functions for this radio show for KLLG, but also recording our band at school, and having other bands come in and record, or recording, doing voiceover work, or creating, having the ability to capture all things audio, Foley arts. We are creating the sound effects for movies and things like that. But to have something functioning and something in place for these kids to really delve even deeper, so that when they go to the college level, or they decide they're not going to go to college, they're just going to go straight into the business, they already have a portfolio of work that they can take with them. And moreover, they have the experience and the confidence and the knowledge to be able to just jump into these scenarios and speak the language and know how the tools work, and be able to operate within these curriculums and these professional places. So that's the goal. That's CTE. That's what we're trying to create. And there's a lot of hype for CTE right now. There's a lot of money in grants. There's a lot of funding. There's a lot of push for CTE. So it's really good to be in this particular position at this particular time, and building upon this CTE program at the Willits Charter School. So I'm really excited. We do have other CTE programs that are starting to, or other teachers and facilitators that are working on their CTE. We've got a culinary arts that is coming up. We've got, I believe, ceramics and visual arts. And so we're really looking at where we can expand in offering these CTE programs as well. And I think most schools are going, oh, CTE. I mean, as I'm sitting in these online classes, I'm recognizing other teachers from other schools, even in our area, that have been teaching for years. And that's the thing with when you get to know some of the other people that are getting their CTE. A lot of them have 10 years or 20 years experience working in schools or education, and now they are getting this certification that really, I guess, establishes their role as a teacher, a mentor, a facilitator for these different things. And one of the things that I've gained a lot in this 2 years that I've been working on my CTE credentialing. I've been teaching for up to 10 years. I've learned a lot of things, but it was kind of, a lot of it's trial and error. I didn't have a mentor per se. I was teaching something that I loved, that I knew a lot about, and just figuring out different ways to like present this so that the kids would really be into it. And through the CTE program and the Sonoma County Office of Education, there's a lot of different methods and things that I didn't know existed, little tips and tools and tricks along the way. So that's been really helpful in me and developing my teaching skills and how I'm presenting. I feel a lot more organized in my presentation, and building curriculum and building lesson plans and sticking to the minute by minute of it and creating that sort of platform in which to grow upon based on the skills that we've learned. So that's been really good for me as a teacher and a facilitator to be able to have those skills and resources, people that I can talk to outside of my little community that can lend to broadening my skills as a teacher and facilitator too as well. So yeah. That's been a really great experience all around. Yeah.
Our kids are really lucky to have you turn their lights on.
Yeah, well,
that.
it's important, growing up in this community that
Yep.
this story's been coming up for me lately. What changed my whole perspective, because I moved here middle of second grade and kind of bounced in and out a little bit. Seventh grade, I went to live with my dad, came back. Last 2 years of high school, went back to live with my dad and graduated down at Samo High, which I was really grateful for, as much as at the time it felt like, I was being punished for, because I was not the best teenager, I put my mom through the ropes here. But it was such a wonderful opportunity for me to like expand what, there's a whole world out there. And, Willits it's a great community and it's very supportive. But the reality is, for teens up to, I'd say about 25, not a lot of opportunities outside of like work,
Right.
And, and not to discredit, the organizations and the things that are here. But as we've seen, like bowling alleys, there's no more bowling alleys, no more skating ring. There's, all these little, all these things that, could, no arcades, that could capture
Right.
the kids and create a safe space for them, are just kind of not there. And I don't know that the kids are really being affected by that, because we are in an age when all they need is a computer or some handheld device, and they'll just tap in. They'll watch, YouTube videos and TikToks all day. Great, but what is that really getting you? I know, like video games, it's a totally different thing. It's hard to say you'll never amount to anything playing video games, because they're part of esports now, and you can make millions of dollars playing video games, or even filming yourself playing video games and putting it out on YouTube. But if you don't have the tools to and know how to set all this stuff up and do it effectively, you're not going to be able to gain the followers or that sort of aspect. Yeah, to be one of those people that has the ability to offer this CTE has been a big honor, and I look forward to seeing where we're at in 5 years and how much of that 5-year plan I really have in place. So stay tuned.
Thank you so much. We're so grateful to have you.
Yeah.